The rain poured heavy that night, flooding the narrow streets. A poor mother clutched her thin coat tighter around herself as she hurried home with a bag of bread. Suddenly a screech split the air. A car had lost control. A young girl in a silk dress stood frozen in the middle of the road, headlights bearing down on her. Without thinking, the mother dropped the bread and lunged forward. Her arms wrapped around the girl, pulling her to safety. Just as the car skidded past, the girl trembled, in shock, staring up at the woman's drenched face. Her voice shook. "You saved me." The mother only smiled faintly, brushing mud from the girl's cheek. "Go home to your family, child. That's thanks enough." Years passed. The poor mother's life did not change much. She still worked long hours. Her hands cracked from labor. Her shoulders bent under the weight of survival. But one morning, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find a young woman in a tailored dress standing tall, her eyes shining with recognition. The rich girl had grown, but she had not forgotten. In her hand was a folder and a key. She smiled through tears. "You once gave me my life. Tonight I've come to give you yours back." The poor mother's hands trembled as she clutched the doorframe. Her eyes darted from the folder to the shiny key, then back to the young woman's face. "I don't understand," she whispered. The girl stepped closer, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "That night in the rain, you didn't even ask my name. You just risked your life for mine. I have waited years for the chance to repay what cannot truly be repaid." She placed the folder gently into the mother's hands. Inside were papers neatly bound, deeds, contracts, documents that spoke of something far greater than charity. The mother's breath caught as she read the words, "Her house, fully paid. Her debts, cleared. Her future, secure." Her lips trembled. This can't be for me." The young woman's eyes softened. "It is because without you I wouldn't be standing here today." The mother's vision blurred with tears. She remembered her cracked hands, grabbing that little girl from the street, never imagining that act of instinct would return. Like this, the young woman held up the key, her voice breaking. "This is not just to a house, it's to freedom, to rest, to dignity. You gave me tomorrow, I want to give you peace today." The mother pressed the papers to her chest, her knees weak, her tears falling silently. She whispered, "But why me?" The young woman reached forward and gently clasped her hands. "Because when I had no one looking out for me, you became the mother I didn't know I needed. And now it's my turn to look out for you." The mother's tears slipped freely, now her voice shaking as she whispered, "I saved you because it was the right thing, not because I ever expected anything back." The young woman smiled gently. "That's exactly why I could never forget you." She guided the mother to a chair inside the small worn home, her eyes sweeping over the cracked walls and broken furniture. Her chest tightened with guilt. "You lived like this all these years, while I lived in comfort." She took the mother's hands again, pressing them firmly. "You will never live like this again." Neighbors began to gather at the doorway, whispering in shock as they watched the once poor girl, now radiant with wealth, sit humbly at the feet of the woman who had saved her life. The mother shook her head, still overwhelmed. "I don't know if I can accept all this." The young woman's eyes glistened. "You must, because it isn't charity, it's justice for what you gave me." The mother's shoulders trembled as she whispered, "I only wanted you safe. That was enough." The young woman squeezed her hand harder. No, it wasn't enough for me. I carry that night in my heart every day. And now I want you to carry a new life in yours. The crowd outside murmured louder, touched by the sight of a bond, stronger than blood, stronger than time. What had begun as a single act of courage was unfolding into a miracle neither of them could have imagined. The poor mother held the key close to her chest, as if afraid it might vanish. The young woman knelt in front of her no longer. The frightened child from years ago, but someone carrying gratitude too deep for words. Her voice broke as she whispered, "You saved me from death. But more than that, you showed me what love looks like without expecting anything in return today. I finally get to give some of that love back to you." The mother's sobs shook her frail body as the neighbors clapped softly at the door, some wiping their eyes. The young woman slipped an arm around her, lifting her gently. "You will not carry this burden alone anymore. Your days of hunger and fear end today." The papers in the folder promised a home, a pension, and a lifetime of care. But what mattered most was the look in the girl's eyes. It wasn't pity, it was family, the mother whispered. Through her tears, "I never thought the child I pulled from the street would be the one to pull me out of my suffering." The young woman smiled through her own tears. "That's the circle of kindness. It always comes back." They embraced in the center of the small room, two lives forever bound by one night of rain and one act of courage that time could never erase. If this story moved you, share it, so others never forget that one selfless act can rewrite a destiny in ways no one sees coming.